Hello and welcome to your award-winning current affairs maritime program, Eye on Port. This program is proudly brought to you by Gold Company Limited, Serene Insurance, Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana Link, who are the operators of the Integrated Customs Management System, and Meridian Port Services. Our proud media partner is the Business and Financial Times. This program is also powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Now, this week we are discussing the export trading companies, and then we're looking at the role that they play in scaling up Africa's exports. But before we bring you the main discussion on this particular subject, there was a seminar on ETC, which is the export trading companies, organized by the Afrexim Bank in collaboration with the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Let's take a listen.
The Africa Export and Import Bank, Afrexim Bank, has selected Ghana as part of a continental initiative to facilitate the creation and expansion of export trading companies to promote intra-Africa trade under the AfTA. Export trading companies provide support services for firms engaged in exporting, such as shipping, warehousing, insurance, market information, among others. As a result, an ETC seminar has been held in Accra to sensitize African countries about the unique role of export trading companies in diversifying African exports and promoting industrialization in the continent. The seminar, which brought together key private and public sector actors in the continent, also discussed how ETCs are organized, operated, supported and regulated by government agencies. The Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Herbert Krapper, said the government will play its role in providing the requisite regulation to attract private investment and partnerships in setting up ETCs. He emphasized Ghana's readiness for vibrant trading under AfTA.
The guided trade initiative that has been introduced by the AFCFTA Secretariat is taking off with Ghana, as well as other countries, Cameroon, Tanzania, Tunisia, Egypt, and a host others, Rwanda. And Ghana will take full advantage of this guided trade. We were in Takoradi last week to inspect a ceramics factory that is going to be part of this guided trade. This ceramics factory is going to export ceramics under the AFCFTA to Cameroon. When this guided trade starts, we also identified 11 other companies. So in all, Ghana is going to use 12 companies to export to Egypt, to Tanzania, to Tunisia, to Cameroon, Rwanda, to Kenya under the guided trade initiative.
The Regional Chief Executive Officer for Anglophone West Africa at Afrexim Bank, Eric Moncho Intong, indicated his outfit's resolve to fulfill its mandate of promoting, financing and facilitating trade in Africa.
We do not just provide financing alone, we also provide facilitation. And part of facilitation is capacity building for the SMEs to be properly supported, for AFCFTA to be successful. The export trading companies need to be capacitized by training like the workshop.
Now, still staying on the subject of export trading companies, Eye on Port engaged some trade experts to discuss the role that these export trading companies could play in scaling up Africa's exports. Let's take a listen.
Let me come to Mr. Zafiano and find out from you how important these export trading companies are in the scheme of things as far as exports on the African continent are concerned.
Most African countries import more than they export, which means that most African countries are in perpetual balance of trade deficit. Then you have lack of strong institutions with capacity to compete globally. These are just some highlights of the African trade structure as we have it today. Of course, the conclusion one could reach from this is that this state of affairs is not sustainable. But we know, and studies over studies have proven that, trade is beneficial to an economy. Studies have demonstrated that consistently because trade leads to faster economic growth, higher innovation, improved productivity. And these are features of economy, an economy that can progress. And trade facilitates all this. So what do we have to do in African countries, most African countries? Just like Dr. David said, these were the considerations that led African Export-Import Bank to determining or concluding that intra-African trade is going to be a very strong strategic pillar, and it has been so in the last couple of years for the bank. And the then bank sponsored, the Export Trading Company Strategy for Africa, which our firm had the rare privilege of assisting the bank to put together. So the ETC, the Export Trading Company, properly conceptualized, is important to trade in Africa because it will assist to ameliorate all the above challenges. ETC will be expected to focus on export of diverse, non-traditional value-added goods and services to many markets. Engages in other ancillary functions, warehousing, local transportation, shipping, insurance, and then consciously engage SMEs and other partners in the supply and production value chains, and provides much needed support to these value chain producers in terms of production know-how, finance, risk management, and many more. And then the ETC will be able to leverage, because by design they are big and large and vast institutions. This will be able to leverage its scale to reduce impact of high transaction costs, thus increasing competitiveness. If you look at all this, and that is why I said the ETC, if properly conceptualized, and we actually gave insight about the concept, the proper conceptualization of an ETC. So in view of the historical contribution of ETC to economic growth, particularly in Asia, so just like I said, African Bank is taking the lead in this. The bank has decided to champion the promotion of these special institutions and to encourage African countries to establish ETC, which will assist the continent to improve intra-African trade, industrialization of the continent, and overall economic growth of countries in the continent. So the ETCs are special, important institutions at this point in time.
Ghana or Africa's trade, global trade percentage or share is said to be a paltry 3%, which is so abysmal and very low compared to other continents. I just want to find out from you what some of the factors are that accounts for this particular trend and what we can do to up our game, on the global stage as far as exports are concerned.
There are two key factors which I will mention very quickly. Number one is the domination of our trade landscape by primary commodities, which Mr. Supiano just spoke about now. You see, the world is moving away from trade in primary commodities. Maybe I need to say this, that we have in the developing economies, the domination of primary commodities, like either agricultural or solid minerals, and compared to developed economies where primary commodities trading constitutes less than 5% of their GDP. So, and the reason why a domination of a trade landscape by primary commodities will imply low level of trade is because they are not as flexibly amenable or easily adaptable to suit situations in the market. For example, somebody is exporting a primary commodity, which is agricultural. You are talking about now to keep the shelf life, to lengthen it, the possibilities of wastages, of storage damages, and all those things. So all those constraints of handling and processing, the bulky, difficult to manage primary commodities constitute a drag on trade. So the domination of primary commodities inadvertently has become one of the albatross, one of the major weights pressing down the volume of trade from Africa. So let's put this at the back of our mind So if we are moving away from primary commodities, you will see by intuition and also in practical response, you will find that the volume of trade will go up. That's one of the things ETCs aim at doing, promoting trade in manufacturers and semi-manufacturers. So the dominance of primary commodities is one. Number two major factor, is actually the level of output, the aggregate level of output. Whatever you want to sell, whatever Africa wants to sell, must first be produced. Do you know that the GDP of Africa accounts for only 2.84% of global GDP? So it actually means that even from the point of what's available to sell, we are low. So with a very low level of output globally or generally in Africa, coupled with the fact that the bulk of these outputs are also traded as primary commodities, we've already shot ourselves in the foot as far as contributing substantially to trade, global trade is concerned. So if we must reverse this trend, if you must up again from 3%, the patronage 3% that you talked about, then the number one thing we must do is that, number one, we must stimulate production. Our aggregate output must increase relative to the world, the rest of the world. And number two, we must rebalance the dominance of primary commodities and move towards manufacturers and semi-manufacturers. If these two factors are dealt with, apart from other structural rigidities here and there, I can see a very sharp upward swing in a proportion of trade in the world.
Well, let me come in studio to Mr. Akron, who's the president of Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, and find out from you. You have been dealing with exporters on a daily basis. Yes. I mean, you help them export, you clear their import for them and all that. Let me find out from you, what are some of the issues that crop up in the course of trying to help these exporters, do business in our ports?
Basically, I think I was listening to Mr. Sufiano, and I think most of these things have been realized. The major and like the basic is, I think we have a certain bankruptcy in information.
Right.
What I get from a lot of the exporters who come around is that, first of all, they want to know, I have these products. Where can I send them to? Of course, I know about exports. I want to send them to somebody. How can I take advantage of what I've done? Who am I going to get to supply to? First of all, so that's a certain bankruptcy.
Right.
There, first, people go into these productions, especially from the farm. For those who are into agriculture and all that, say, "Oh, I want to do green pepper. I've done lots of it. I've done cashew. Where do I take it to?" So he comes asking you this information. Of course, then you know that there's a certain bankruptcy there. Right. I know GEPA, the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, has been doing a lot right now. But then we have certain ideas as to how this could happen. Because these small time, exporters do not have the resources. Of course, they do not have the connections out there. So what we see is that if there's a certain integration, a certain consolidation, that is if GEPA can come out and say, okay, if you are into this product, this is how we can consolidate your goods together. Right. I mean, once we bring all of you together, then we can maybe take them to a particular source. So you can also enjoy, the resource and then build up capacity. So that is one major thing. There was a certain ban by the EU on our vegetables that were being exported. Yes. Why was it so? Of course, permits are issued before these exports go. But why did that happen? It's all because of a lack of education.
Right.
Okay? Because sometimes the products, the standards that the EU requires, these have to be known before it even gets from the farm gate. So that if it's a matter of protecting the vegetable in a certain way, be the packaging or if a certain, it has to be in a certain frozen temperature to get to the port for export, all of that would have to be, the farmer has to be trained. So again, I say it's just the bankruptcy in education and in some information. These are the problems that I see.
Iron Port returns after this break.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Gold Super XP Run 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Gold Super XP Run 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Gold Super XP Run 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Gold Super XP Run 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance Motor Policy. Currently, my goods are on the IC, covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the project, and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
You are welcome back from the break. Now local news and activities happening within the port and maritime industry next.
The Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders Giff has launched a research hub, which is a brand new initiative to provide far-reaching insights on cutting-edge research findings to assist policy decisions regarding international trade on the continent of Africa and the world at large. Giff, over the past 3 decades, has frontlined activities such as competency-based education and training, advisory role, and advocacy in the port and maritime industry. The Institute remains the only partner that truly interfaces with all the entities in the Ghanaian port and maritime sector, leaving an indelible mark in the evolution of cross-border trade in Ghana. Speaking at the event, the president of Giff, Edward Akrong, said the establishment of the research hub will make Giff relevant to the port and shipping sector by contributing to the shaping and development of national policies that affect international trade.
Now, as actives of Ghana's international tradeways, our marching orders had been long issued. We have huffed and puffed, bared our teeth at whoever needed to see the Mensa in us. But we are here and now, choosing the path of science, research, as a veritable tool with which to buy our future. Folks, Our destiny is defined, and it does not look like we have too many choices than to take advantage of the opportunities the fourth industrial revolution presents. We are very well plugged in at the primary data source. The Giff Research Hub is timely and critical for our sustainability.
The former Member of Parliament for Tema Central, Kofi Brako, who is also a former Giff president, said the Research Hub will provide a lot of data which will help improve the ease of doing business in the country.
The Research Hub that we are all looking at today, if it becomes viable, it's something that is going to give us a lot of data, and that data is going to support us improve upon our systems.
He said freight forwarders have the capacity to contribute meaningfully to national development, hence the need for them to use their research to influence the manifestos of political parties to achieve the needed results.
We are a private sector entity, so to me, we should look within, and when we have looked within and improved upon our systems, the politicians will identify us and then they will deal with us. But until such time that we are capable, because as I speak to you now, they don't think that we have the capacity, but we do.
The event was also used to outdoor the Giff Insight, a quarterly magazine for the port and shipping industry. The Pilotage Board of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, as per the law of the authority, mandated to regulate marine operations at Ghana's ports. The board constitutes representatives from the Ghana Maritime Authority, the Ghana Navy, the Regional Maritime University, a retired marine pilot, the harbour masters of the ports of Tema and Takoradi, and the head of legal at GPHA. Due to the dynamic nature of pilotage and the evolution of shipping, the Pilotage Board has been reconstituted and inaugurated for the continuous running of affairs regarding marine operations at the ports.
The Pilotage Board have really assisted marine operations in keeping marine operations top on the mark. You know, vessels are international players in the maritime industry. They call Tema, Takoradi. The next port may be a port outside Ghana, Rotterdam, Liverpool, New York, and as such, they have to be handled professionally.
The inauguration also saw the end of the tenure of seasoned marine pilots and founding member of the board, Mike Zeble, who has contributed to the coaching and mentorship of marine pilots at the ports over decades. David Kobna Smith will take his place on the board as ex-pilot.
My appreciation rather goes to you, the handlers of the port, especially the harbour masters. I've seen you handle ships, and that is very good. I've seen all of you, the way you work, and still controlling, you know, the talks, and keep on doing that. They are very, very valuable objects to the port.
It's now time for some international port and maritime news.
Japanese shipping major MOL has placed an order for 4 Cape-size bulkers and 2 very large crude carriers powered by LNG as their main fuel, cementing its efforts in having 90 LNG-fueled ships by 2030. The 4 210,000 deadweight tonnage class Cape-size bulkers will be built by SSC Jingdao Benghai Shipbuilding Company. It is MOL's first time ordering a new building vessel from this shipyard. The bulkers are slated for delivery in succession from 2025 through 2026. The Italian Coast Guard, along with a Romanian vessel, responded to a distress call in the Mediterranean on August 20. When they located a 131-foot superyacht Saga, the vessel was reported to be in severe danger with worsening weather conditions that would ultimately claim the vessel. When they located a multi-million-dollar vessel, which was headed for Milazzo, it was approximately 9 miles south of the famed tourist destination of Catanzaro. The Italian Coast Guard transferred the 4 passengers and 1 crew member that were aboard the Romanian patrol boat to their vessel and completed a rescue of 4 crew members that were still aboard the superyacht. They transferred all of them to shore, where the crew quickly made arrangements for a tug to proceed to the site for a salvage attempt. A week-long strike is reportedly ongoing, bringing UK's largest container port to a standstill, and the war of words between the union representing the dock workers and the port officials is heating up. Felixstowe employers and the labor union remain at a deadlock on salary negotiations. Union officials continue to reject what the port calls a fair offer, with both sides threatening to deepen and prolong the dispute. Reports indicate that nearly or all of the port's crane drivers, machine operators and stevedores who load and unload ships are staying away from work. The port's online calendar shows nearly all vessel calls cancelled for the entire week.
We have the word of the day next.
A bulk carrier or bulker is a ship that transports unpacked cargo such as coal, ore, or grain in large quantities.
So schedules of vessels in the port, those at anchorage and those expected in the coming week, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rates you need to know to clear your goods from the port next. It's now time for some of the comments you've been sharing with us.
My name is Abna in Tema. I'd like to know if these export trading companies will come to solve some of the logistical deficiencies and information gap which are hindering exports in Ghana. Hi Abna, Dr. Olufemi Adebiyi said, export trading companies are information gatherers and they generate information that drives trade. Also, due to their large size, they leverage on economies of scale to drop unit cost of transportation and other logistical costs.
Now, this is where we draw the curtain for this week's episode of Iron Port. Thank you for watching and thanks to the entire crew. Join us same time next week.